ژنو، چهلمین اجلاس شورای حقوق بشر. سخنرانی‌های نمایندگان سازمان‌های غیردولتی دارای رتبه مشورتی سازمان ملل درباره قتل عام 67 و وضعیت حقوق بشر در ایران.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Islamic Republic of Iran just appointed a new head of the judiciary, Mr. Ebrahim Raisi. Before his appointment, Mr. Raisi was one of the key perpetrators of one of the largest crimes of the 20th century, the 1988 massacre of political prisoners. During the massacre, Mr. Raisi was deputy prosecutor for Tehran and personally gave instructions for the arrest, torture and executions of members of political groups. Mr. Raisi played a very similar role in the 2009 crackdown on Iranian protesters. As a member of the Death Commission in Tehran, he would have asked prisoners of conscience whether they were willing to clear minefields for the Republic or execute another member of their political party. If the prisoner answered no, they would have been sent for immediate execution. Mr. Raisi is proud of his role in this crime against humanity. We know he is because he has said so himself publicly on many occasions. Mr. Raisi embodies the impunity enjoyed by human rights abuses in Iran. The current as well as the two former ministers of justice also personally participate in killings of 1988. The appointment of criminals such as Mr. Raisi guarantees that Iran will never investigate the crime, and it guarantees that future abuses will occur. We call on the Council to heed the recommendation of the late Special Rapporteur on the situation of human rights in Iran, Mrs. Jahangir, to set up an independent international investigation into the 1988 prison massacre in Iran. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. The women's rights situation in Iran has been horrific for many decades, and there are no signs of improvement. Legislation against women remains. Torture, rape, and execution are common practice, and the judicial system protects the human rights abusers. The lack of commitment to change is demonstrated by the appointment of Ebrahim Raisi as the head of judiciary in Iran. This man has personally ordered mass execution of political prisoners in the 80s. The mass killings in 88 were mandated by a decree by Khomeini, former supreme leader in Iran. It allowed for the execution of over 30,000 political prisoners. Amnesty International has recently published a report on the 88 killings with new evidences and highlight how Ebrahim Raisi played a central role in the arrest, torture and executions of the members of political groups. Iranian and in particular the families of political prisoners fear that with this appointment the 88 catastrophic scenario will be repeated. So we call on the Special Reporter on Human Rights in Iran to set up an independent international investigation into the 88 prison massacre in Iran. Thank you, Mr. President.
در چهلمین اجلاس شورای حقوق بشر نمایندگان برخی دیگر از سازمان‌های غیردولتی از جمله انجمن بین‌المللی برابری زنان و انجمن بین‌المللی حقوق بشر زنان طی سخنانی اقدامات سرکوبگرانه و تبعیض‌آمیز رژیم علیه زنان و نقض حقوق کودکان و همچنین دستگیری و اعدام کودکان و نوجوانان قبل از رسیدن به سن قانونی را تشریح کردند و از شورای حقوق بشر سازمان ملل خواستار اقدامات فوری برای جلوگیری از این اقدامات رژیم آخوندی شدند.